Hey everyone, I'm Christina Reisinger from ChristinaReisinger.com, and this is my husband Caleb.
Hey.
And we are back with our grief conversations. This is our 4th episode, and today we want to talk to you about the things that remain. So as usual, I'm going to ask Caleb to start.
Thank you. So the things that remain. So I got a couple of examples here. From our own personal experience with Isabella, we have a lot of stuff left over, everything from specific medical supplies that she needed for her care, all the way up to the normal things you'd expect with a child, which is all the blankets and toys and clothes and the crib and all of that kind of stuff that goes with a baby. The second example I have would be, and so, you know, that we talk about stuff that remains, stuff that you're keeping like that. That's one example. And then we've seen, at least I have, the other extreme, where maybe you have older people who have, you have the stuff, clothes and things that you normally have too, but then you also have more substantial things that person had, whether it's vehicles or houses or boats, RVs, land, those kind of things. And the people that are left behind seem to be in a race to get rid of stuff. Like it's their project now that the person has passed away to try to move past the grief is to try to get rid of their stuff. So you've got two extremes. You've got holding on to stuff for, what may seem like way too long to some people or forever. And then you got the other extreme where it's the race to see if you can get rid of their stuff.
Right. And this is not the most sympathetic, empathetic type of a conversation that you want to have. But the thing is that you have to figure out what to do with these things. And so you do have to confront these things at some point. And like we always say, grief is unique and your own journey is yours. So how you deal with these things is going to be differently than maybe someone else who's in your similar type of a situation. There's not really any kind of a right answer or wrong answer. It's in your own time and the way that you want to do it. For us, well, we got rid of her medical equipment, I think, pretty quickly. I called the company, and part of that is because it had to be that way. And then, but there was part of me that just kind of wanted to fold everything up and put it in the drawers just like it was every single day. And you may feel that urge to make the room look exactly as your loved one had it. And there's nothing wrong with that, but at some point you have to make big decisions on what to do. So we have some things still. I still have like a bag, and then we purchased a trunk to put some special items in. Like she had an elephant that she loved, so I wanted to keep that. We actually had someone who tracked down that same little elephant, and we buried her with it. But we kept the original one that she used to cling to. So I will always cherish that. And those kind of things are good. They're sentimental, and it gives you a connection to your loved one. And then like Caleb was saying, you have to make decisions about vehicles sometimes, or homes, or wardrobes, things that you are not going to necessarily use. And it's okay to sit on them for a while. And it's okay to get rid of them. I mean, you shouldn't beat yourself up one way or another, and you shouldn't let people push you one way or another.
Well, you should do things for the right reason. And I know from our experience, maybe we had, just like we talked about in one of the earlier videos, how we see things a lot differently. I was more practical, I would say, about getting rid of some of the stuff that clearly we weren't going to use, and they weren't things that maybe were keepsakes. They were just things that, some of the extra medical supplies, either stuff that was left in the refrigerator, formula and stuff like that. There was no reason in my mind to keep this stuff, but maybe Christy wasn't quite ready to get rid of some of this stuff, and I won't say I pushed too hard. I don't think I did, but I was encouraging us to let's go ahead and start to get rid of some of the stuff that we know we're not going to keep this forever, and we can't keep it forever, and there's no reason to. We have other things that will keep it first.
But it was a lot more difficult for me because I just had an attachment. Like every little thing that was hers really, it just killed me to do anything with. We did have a lot of extra medical supplies, and her wonderful, wonderful NICU nurse, Tara, has a nonprofit in Mexico where she helps babies and children with medical needs over there, and so we were able to donate some of it. But there were other things. Like there was one thing in particular that was pretty difficult for me to let go, and at the time I was talking with a therapist, and she had a wonderful suggestion. She said that I should talk to Caleb and that we would come up with some form of a ceremony to be able just to let that particular item go. And it was very difficult for me, very, very difficult emotionally, but I think that kind of helped me get over the hump. It was very symbolic, and it was very, very healing for me after we made that leap to do it. So I would suggest that if you're struggling with that kind of thing, then maybe you create something very special to move past it, and maybe that would help. So
yeah, not for every item, obviously,
Yeah.
but when you find the right one,
Yeah.
and there was something I didn't see any opposition to doing. It was a good thing, and it was very good for Christy, and I noticed that things were better after that.
Right.
So,
Right. So other things that we were talking about that remain.
Right. So you're moving away from Isabella to maybe something you've seen in the past. If you think back, I've seen folks, not going to name names obviously, but folks in the past that seem to be in a hurry to get rid of things. They were clearly grieved, but that was their coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of keeping stuff, they would keep some stuff, but they were in a hurry to seem like they were going to get rid of stuff and clean up the house
Mm-hmm.
or move stuff out, and that was their way of I guess dealing with that. Was and some people were that were around watching, were kind of upset maybe, or like, what are you doing? Or they didn't know if they wanted to say something about it, but like things are disappearing and going pretty fast, and some people maybe that are connected around loss, especially if it's a family member that has children or grandchildren or that kind of stuff. Some of those folks are like, wait a minute, I wanted that, or I wanted this. So it can kind of cause conflict sometimes when things like that happen.
Yeah.
And you see that, I've seen it quite a few times, where people are kind of, they're emotional because somebody passed away that they loved, and then they're like, well, I was supposed to get this, or I was supposed to get that, and it can really cause division and issues in a family, unfortunately.
Right. And even houses, some people have an attachment because that is the place where the memories were made, and other people staying in that home is just too painful, so they need to leave. It's just a different way to process things, but again, there's no right or wrong answer here.
Right. So I would say recognizing that maybe one of these two things is occurring, and you'll definitely know it when you see it.
Mm-hmm.
You can tread lightly, but it's probably something you want to bring up in a caring manner.
Yeah.
So as not to cause conflict.
A caring manner.
And maybe you're going to have to bring it up a few times before maybe you start to see traction, where it's like, let's either go ahead and do this and move some stuff that needs to be moved and take care of it, or either, hey, let's wait a minute and slow down and let's talk about some of this before you make choices and decisions that maybe you'll regret later about stuff that you got rid of. Or either maybe some other folks that are also experiencing grief are going to be upset that you did this or that.
Right, and as Christians, we talk about speaking the truth in love, and this is definitely one of those times where you may need to speak the truth in love, but always consider everybody's feelings. Make sure that it's coming from a place of love, and not some just opinion that you may have or an expectation or perception.
Yeah. And then personalities are going to play a role in this. Everybody knows their friends and their family, and so you'll make the call on how you deal with some of those individuals that may not be at their best at this time for sure, and are maybe going to be hard to deal with on a regular basis. Sometimes maybe people's personality with stuff like this that they hold dear would be kind of rough, and something when the loss occurs that may be that much more painful and hard to kind of move past some of this stuff. But you know that you can't keep some stuff forever, and that it's not right to get rid of stuff really fast sometimes.
Right. Okay, so if you are ever having any question about where you stand in these types of situations when you have all this stuff to possibly get rid of, know first, there's no right or wrong answer. I mean, you grieve at your own pace. Everything is unique to you and your own journey. But if you would like any kind of suggestions or just want to reach out to us, we're here. And we will continue to do these. If you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss, please feel free to put them in the suggestions or in the comments, and we would love to hear from you guys. So continue to be blessed and bless others, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.